Okay, so real quick, I'm going to lay out why the Timberwolves shouldn't go for Ben Simmons. There's a lot of reasons why you may think that they should. I think that there's a decent amount of reasons why they shouldn't. So let's review right now. There's no easy package for him. I think that's pretty evident because the trade hasn't happened yet. If there was a straightforward package that made a lot of sense for both parties, I think the trade would have already taken place. So clearly, either the Timberwolves are not offering Philadelphia enough, or Philadelphia is demanding way too much. Either way, it doesn't seem like it's lining up pretty easily. And three-team deals are really hard to pull off in comparison to two-team deals because you need to make the money work for three parties versus two. I guess to say that in a very succinct way, there's no clear package that makes everybody happy. Second reason is, like, let's say the Timberwolves do acquire Ben Simmons. It will be in exchange for some combination of at least probably three out of these four things: Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, draft picks, and Jaden McDaniels. So either they'll give up, I think, D'Lo, McDaniels, and picks, or Beasley, McDaniels, and picks, or Beasley, D'Lo, and McDaniels, or Beasley, D'Lo, and picks. Either way, it's just way too much, and it's not worth it. I think there's a world in which Philadelphia would honestly and really irrationally ask for all four of those things, but as it is, that's way too much. When you think about the ideal trade, I think what's honestly fair is probably like D'Lo and McDaniels, or like D'Lo and 3 first-round picks. But I just don't think that Philly's willing to accept that. And I think the third thing that is an issue is, if you acquire Simmons, you're giving up a lot of shooting. So let's just say ideal case scenario, they give up Malik Beasley and picks, and that's all. Or let's say they have to give up Malik Beasley and Taurean Prince and Jaden McDaniels, because that makes the money work perfectly, basically. Even if you do that, then your starting lineup is something like D'Lo, Ant, probably Okogie, Simmons, and Cat. And when you look at that lineup, you've got Cat, who's a good shooter, yeah. You've got D'Lo, who's an okay, or pretty good shooter. But then Simmons, Okogie, and Ant really aren't like great outside shooters. Obviously, Simmons not at all. Okogie is bad, and Ant is average on his good days. So basically, with the assets that they'd have to give up to get Simmons, they're sort of losing their shooting. Like, the whole thing is, it'd be ideal if Ben Simmons could play in Minnesota with all the shooting they have, but they'd have to give up a considerable amount of their shooting to get Ben Simmons. So it wouldn't be as great of spacing as people keep saying it would be. It would realistically be like Simmons and like two good shooters probably, and then like average to bad spacing besides those two. To me, from the Timberwolves side of things, their defense is bad as currently constructed, but I think Malik Beasley's spacing gives them more on offense than Ben Simmons' bad offense combined with his good defense would. Like, I think Vanderbilt and McDaniels can provide decent defense as currently constructed, so getting Simmons isn't going to it'll improve them defensively, but I also don't think you can rely on one player to be your entire defense. Like, I think it bumps them from like 30th ranked defense to like 24th. I don't think it puts them from like 30th to like 8th or something like that. So from that perspective, I just say, if what Philly really wants is like D'Lo, Beasley, and like 3 or 4 first-round picks, that's way too much for the Timberwolves. And honestly, I just don't think that there's a realistic trade unless Philly gets so desperate that they're willing to accept something to the tune of like Beverly, Taurean Prince, and 4 swaps and 4 first-round picks. If that is what the deal is, then for sure the Timberwolves should do it, but I don't think otherwise. To me, the trade is only worthwhile if you can have a starting lineup of Russell, Ant, or I should say, like, if you could have like a closing lineup of Russell, Beasley, Ant, Simmons, and Cat, then that's a good core, and you'll probably be like the 6th seed in the playoffs. But if you can't have that fivesome, I don't think it's worth it. Like if you're looking at a core of, let's even just say they get a deal of Beasley, 4 swaps, and 4 firsts for Simmons. Your core is those 4 dudes of Russell, Ant, Cat, and Simmons, but you have no future, and basically, like, if they don't make the playoffs, they're screwed for the next 8 years as far as draft capital. So it just doesn't seem worth it to me unless they can basically get him for no players and just picks. So to me, the trade just doesn't make sense. Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.